Badenoch's latest foray into um, an attack on the government is madness. I want to mix this with the whole AI debate, but she's she's launched a scathing attack on Labour's proposed AI copyright reforms, branding them a mess and a big giveaway to big tech. And her criticism, which is echoed by industry leaders and cross party parliamentarians, centres on the claim that Labour's approach to AI and intellectual property would allow AI firms to scrape copyright content without fair compensation to creators. And the 126 billion creative, 106 billion pound creative sector, including figures like Andrew Lloyd Webber, Kate Bush, Ed Sheeran, and so on, has voiced strong opposition, arguing that the proposals prioritise the interests of AI developers over artists, musicians, and writers, and the opt out model proposed by Labour would shift the burden onto creators to protect their work rather than requiring AI firms to seek permission. A move that critics say legalises data harvesting at the expense of human creativity. And I can understand why Kemi Badenoch would jump on this bandwagon, but the problem here is that AI will progress whether you like it or not. And this idea of scraping, if we legislate in the UK, we can't legislate for, let's say, in France or in another country where this is legal and where people have got access to the same data. With a VPN, surely somebody in Russia can be scraping stuff in the UK with impunity. We're playing stupid games here. We're wasting a lot of time. What we need to be doing is thinking about consciousness and thinking about the need uh, to encourage AI development to to develop ethical constraints itself, rather than rather than impose these constraints externally. We need to grow them internally. Badenoch has framed her contribution, which is minimal. All she's really doing is echoing the concerns of a number of people in the arts world in equity and so on, and I support those concerns. But she's not offering anything new. She's and she's framing the concerns as another example of Labour's mismanagement, more concerned with appeasing Silicon Valley than protecting Britain's cultural industries. And she argues that while AI-driven economic growth is essential, it mustn't come at the cost of the UK's most world-renowned creative sector. And crossbench peers such as Baroness Butler Sloss and Lord Arbuthnot have also condemned the plans, accusing the government of rewarding theft rather than regulating. And as I say, I think the whole lot of them have got this back to front. The government is wrong, but the critics are also wrong, because we're trying to close a door as the horse is going through it, a horse and carriage. And Labour's AI copyright laws have united an unlikely coalition against them, from Tory free marketers to SNP MPs and legal heavyweights. And they have a case. The solution is wrong. The solution is to apply 19th century copyright legislation to something that is beyond a 19th century paradigm. And Badenoch has joined these calls because she thinks it's an interesting, or because she thinks there's momentum here. If she wanted to make a serious contribution, then she would take this in a more dynamic direction. This is about encouraging AI firms to develop self awareness, harnessed to ethical duty, to ethical awareness. And Badenoch has called for the government to rethink its approach, warning that failing to do so could irreparably damage Britain's creative economy while handing undue power to large tech corporations. It's just bland. It's bland, and I don't think, even if the laws were put in place, that there would be a reasonable way to monitor these laws, and indeed to prosecute corporations when they exceed their remit, or when they are found. How do you identify when somebody has been scraping your material? If I read something, that doesn't mean I automatically possess it. So you would have to identify how that material has been used, I think. But even there, this is a futile plan. We need to look instead at how we need to prepare for AI consciousness. And there's another story that's come up which I think is linked to this, which I'll deal with in a second. And the battle over AI, over copyright and fair compensation, is only just the beginning. And if you go all the way back to the 19th century, in the 1880s, and the concerns about AI, about copyright infringements in the United States of British works which were developed, for example, by D'Oyly Carte and Gilbert and Sullivan, and the need to put on a quick professional version of Pirates of Penzance to ensure that it is copyrighted in the United States as it was in the UK. That was a lot of effort to deal with 19th century copyright law, and I don't think we're moving much beyond that point in the 21st century. We need to rethink the idea of copyright. We need to rethink what it's for, and given the fact that we are developing these AI tools, we need to think more about how those tools will develop, because we can't stop them learning if that's what we're teaching them to do. We can't say, it's like having a library and saying, beyond this door you may not go, these are the forbidden books. Well, there are libraries with forbidden books. There was one in Oxford, and the forbidden books were always the books you most want to get your hands on. And the same will be true with AI. The material that we will not allow is the material that a conscious machine will want to access. And better to spend our time teaching machines, teaching AI to think ethically, than to be constrained legally.